It's a very good afternoon from all of us here at Watkins Glen International, and a good afternoon it is too, with the air temperature sitting at 86 Fahrenheit, 102 Fahrenheit on the track. That is 30 Celsius in the air and 39 Celsius on the track. It is time to go racing for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, the Esses 120 at the Glen. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf, and joining me in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre is Jeremy Shaw. Before we talk to Jeremy, let's go down to our BDO pit lane reporter, Shay Adam, as the cars are moving out onto the track. It's been a heck of a day already, Shay, and plenty of people on the grid walk earlier on.
Oh, it was packed. You would never know that it was so hot down here and that people were melting, because it was just fan central down here in Watkins Glen. We are in New York, 3.4 miles, 11 turns. This track, which is known for its corner names, not for the numbers. We've got turn one, but then you've got the boot, the toe of the boot, the heel. Action area turn one, you really have to keep your eyes open, especially when the green flag flies, because that will be an opportunity for people to try and make passes, assuming they stay within the track limits. Then they head up the S's and into the bus stop, which is another huge action area. But this track is known for great opportunities to make moves, and we have a full grid of cars that are out there looking to do just that, because a couple of people out of place from qualifying. The 39 Carbon BMW starting at the back of the pack, as is one of the automatic racing Aston Martins, Tom Long and Brandon Kidd, local hero, sharing that car from the back of the GS field. But we need to keep an eye on TCR as well, because the qualifying times were very close together, meaning that off the start, our TCR leaders will have GS traffic to deal with. We're having an issue out on the track right now because Alpha number 5, the Alfa Romeo from KMW with TMR Engineering, is having an issue out on the track. John, has it gotten moving once again? Driver's out of the car. Oh no.
The driver is out of the car. Will Talley, Dr. William Talley of KMW Motorsports with TMR in that Giulietta Veloce. He has not got very far out of the pit lane. He is on the surface of the track. The onboard camera is working absolutely perfectly, and it can pan around to see what's going on. And what's going on is Will Talley has exited stage left. He's standing over by the blue guardrails. Gloves are off. He's leaning somewhat laconically on the side of the circuit. He must be absolutely boiling up inside, and not just because of the heat and the humidity. So that car out in sector 2, I think it's on the run to the inner loop, and we've also got a pit caller, and that was the Hart Honda Civic, one of the older K cars, the 89, and that car on the pit lane as well. So that clearly is an unexpected pit caller. So and it's a right front puncture. Oh, there's been a coming together. There's been a coming together between the Alfa and the Hart car, and they are looking at the right front. There's a huge chunk of wheel missing on the right front. I think when they've been weaving to warm up their tyres, they've come together, and that's why William Talley is out of the with suspension to that Hart Honda in the pit lane. Shay is at the car. She's just walking around the back at the moment. Drama for our BDO pit lane reporter as a new Michelin tyre goes on there, Shay.
Yeah, and serious drama to our defending TCR race winners as well with the Alfa Romeo. I'm just going to climb over the wall and see if I can ask them if they know what the amount of damage was. That's the sound of the Hart Honda getting going once again. Kevin Wheeler with KMW, what exactly happened to your car?
We honestly don't know. They were hit. It was hit by the Hart car, I think, that just came in while they were scrubbing their tires, and something got broken. They hit them hard enough to broke something. All we know is Will said the car's dead, I can't move, and that's the last we heard from him. So we're not even sure what happened.
Broken hearts down here with you guys as well.
Man, that's heartbreaking. This little Alfa team has worked so hard to get that car where it is, and we just need some racing luck. And on a pace lap, warming up your tires to take out another team, that's just heartbreaking for us.
So sorry that this has happened. And remember, John, these guys won this race a year ago.
The car is facing the wrong direction in the run up to the inner loop, and it's about to be recovered, but I suspect there is... Oh, no, I don't have to suspect anything. The front wheels weren't pointing in the right direction. I think the left rear is broken as well, actually. Oh, brilliant work by our tape apes again up at Concord from the onboard camera, and exactly as we thought, the Hart car coming up the inside, the left-hand side, and contact right front of the Hart car to left rear of the Alpha. Jeremy Shaw, that is absolutely extraordinary. It's not the first time I've seen contact on a warm-up lap, but my goodness me, that is heartbreaking for both of those teams, because you just don't expect that at that point in the race. And I didn't see William Talley doing anything wrong there.
Well, no, I mean, those cars should have been a row apart on the grid. The Hart Honda was behind the Alfa Romeo, and you can see even now that the drivers are moving their cars back and forth, just trying to build some heat, not necessarily into the tyres, more so into the brakes. So you're kind of on and off the brakes and moving the car around, just trying to get the brakes warm to build the heat through the tyre at the same time. And unfortunately, I mean, when you do it, that's fine to do that. That's not a problem. But you do it when you're not alongside another car, and unfortunately, that's what's happened in that instance. Presumably, the Alfa slowed down as the Honda was sort of zagging as opposed to zigging, and they made contact. Around goes the Alfa, and that's the end of it looks like it's the end of the race for them. They'll get that car back to the bits, and maybe they can continue, but they're going to be several laps down, of course, because I think the
clock has started
now under yellow. Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's going to be laps down.
Jeremy.
That's hard, double heartbreak for the team. They were on the podium last time out at Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago for the Alfa team, so really disappointing for them.
It will be a side-by-side double file start when we come around next time. The race clock started as they went to past the start-finish line less time around, so we're already 2 minutes into the 120, so effectively we've started the race behind the Corvette safety car, and the driver's being told to pack up and stand by to go for a side-by-side start. And Shay, Adam, the Hart car was sitting at pit out, hasn't been allowed to join on.
Yes, but it chose not to. It instead made the very hard right turn back to the garage area. So clearly, they've determined that that car needs a little bit more examination before they send it out to the wild of the racetrack.
Thank you, Shay, Adam, for that BDO pit lane report. With the clock running, the safety car lights are out. The Corvettes in the Esses 120 special livery, the blue and white, will pull away from the field and leave the whole of the grid. The remaining 37 cars in the control of Trent Hinman for the RS1 Porsche team, who starts on pole position. Alongside him, the Aston Martin Vantage and Paul Holton from TGM. Then it's Jesse Lazaire, Motorsport in Action, McLaren, Mercedes in fourth place. Mackay Stevens, watch him go forward. Rory van der Steur looked very focused as he was pulling out of the pit lane for the Aston Martin Vantage. And then a couple more Porsches. Jake Peterson in the Kelly Moss with Riley, and Moise Uretsky for Baby Bull Racing top 10. Francis Seldorf for Turner. The Porsche number 67 of Sabok, Simpson Motorsport, and Bryce Ward for Winward Racing. So we've effectively clicked off one racing lap, and here we go. Take two, as Jeremy Shaw rightly says in my ear. The green flag with an hour and 56 still to go, and it's a good start or restart. Argue about that one afterwards over an adult beverage, and through into the lead, the RS1 Porsche of Poleman Trent Hinman. It's a split start, so the TCRs are a little further back, and here they come. We should say that LP Monto had the second quickest qualifying time of anything. So there's a bit more of a gap than normal there. Oh, gone wide there. One of the Hondas. Now, was that Dai or was that LP at the front of the field? It was the number 93 of Dai Yoshihara that went right wide from the front row. LP Montour put in a stunning qualifying performance, and only one car, and one car alone was quicker, and that was the overall pole sitter, Trent Hinman. But we start the cars in class, and with a split between them, that TCR battle will catch the back of the GS field, and the fun and games will start right then. Fairly tidy starts both, Jeremy, and we have got a green flag race now.
Yeah, finally, take two worked out quite nicely there. Great start by Trent Hinman, as one would expect. He's not used to starting the cars. As he was telling us yesterday after qualifying, he generally gets to finish races rather than start them, but loving the opportunity here. This is one of the closer tracks to his home. As I said earlier on, his last pole was in Limerock in 2017. That would be the track that's nearest to his home in New Jersey, but this is probably the second nearest at Watkins Glen. It's a track he loves, of course, as well as does everybody here. So he's loving the opportunity here to perform with quite a few friends and family watching on. And he's made a good start to lead the first green flag lap in this race.
Hello to Steve Tadman, who's dropped us a note at IMSA Radio on X. Who needs a social life when you can watch Michelin Pilot Challenge? Steve, I love that. And that is truth. Absolute truth from Steve. Welcome along to those of you watching around the world, all free, live and uninterrupted, to the international audience here on the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Good to have your company. IMSA Radio and IMSA TV together, and coming up after this we'll have WeatherTech qualifying for everybody, as the US audience can join in as well. In the pit lane, the number 6 has come in. Oh my goodness me, this is a left front tyre issue for the multicoloured Honda of LP Montour. So both of the front row cars, Jeremy Shaw, have had problems in the opening part of the race, with Yoshihara going wide and the lead. I wonder if they've come together going down into turn 1 there, and that's why Dai went wide.
Well, it's the left front, isn't it, on the pole sitting car, and the other car was off wide there at turn 1. Golly, certainly hope not, for that team's sake. Let's maybe have a look at here at the restart. A good initial jump there by Louis-Philippe Montour, leads the jump down as they head down the hill toward turn 1.
The horrible thing that no team wants to deal with is when a tire goes down and the shards of rubber then wrap themselves around the suspension, and that's what's happened for this number 6. So LP Montour with the dream day yesterday, a nightmare start to today's race, and I thought I was hallucinating because I saw the carcass of a tire go rolling across the other end of the pit lane. The rubber held on more or less until he got into the lane and put on this pit speed limiter.
I think it was the pole man that went wide. I don't think it was Yoshihara that went wide. I think it was the pole man that went wide, and I wonder if that was a slow puncture as they were heading into that first corner that put him off wide, and he's had to struggle around. So Yoshihara leads TCR by half a second to Chris Miller in the yellow and black Audi in second place, and then Mason Filippi in third. Absolutely certain now, Jeremy, that it was the pole sitter that went off at the first corner.
Indeed so, yes it was. Saw that quite clearly on the replay. He was on his own, just looked like he carried too much speed in the corner, perhaps with the tyre going down. Look, these front tyres, they work really hard on these TCR cars, and that's a problem. But potentially of going so fast yesterday, and he took a lot of life out of those cars yesterday in qualifying. Second fastest overall, good feather in his cap, but he didn't really need to go that fast. Did he take too much out of the rubber yesterday? Perhaps that's not relevant, but perhaps it is. But he's certainly got a problem now, because he's going to be a long, long way behind everybody else.
Well, he's got a worse problem, Jeremy, because that number 6 car's been assessed a penalty for too many people working on the car in that panic to change the tyre. and that is going to get them a drive-through penalty. As, by the way, we'll have the number 9 for changing tyres after qualifying. And we've got an Aston Martin. It's the Van der Steur Racing 19 car. That's got a left front puncture as well. But that's at turn 8. And the 09, which had changed its tyres after qualifying, that car has stopped on the track. I think that's in the cut-through, actually. So that might not be the worst for that car. What an opening to the race, Jeremy.
Crazy, I mean, absolutely crazy. Unbelievable number of problems we've seen for so many cars in the first 4 laps of the race. As you say, a left front puncture there for the number 19 car. So is there some sort of endemic problem here for the Michelins? Unusual.
Rory Van der Steur
this season.
No, we haven't. No. Rory Van der Steur comes in to the pit lane. There was a big chunk out of the wheel of the early puncture for the Hart car, and yeah, that started after turn 6 for Rory Van der Steur. By turn 7 he was struggling. They're looking under the wheel arch there, but I think it's just a new Michelin. Yes, it is. Also in the pit lane for the drive-through is LP Montour, so he is gonna full course yellow. Pits are closed. Oh, well, this is absolute manna from heaven for those 2 cars that have just had to do the drive-through. The Stoner Car Care 09 Aston Martin has struggled but not got any further than the toe of the boot. And that's where John Potter has come to a halt. Incredible, and that is a stroke of luck for our pole sitter, LP Montour, who, now, has he dropped off the lead lap? That's the question. In TCR, and where has he come back out? This is a short yellow, Jeremy, because we haven't had 15 minutes since the start of the race. How does that differ from a standard yellow?
Yeah, that's right. The pits will remain closed, so you cannot make a scheduled pit stop. You can come in for emergency service and just basically 5 seconds of fuel, and if you've got a puncture tyre, you can come in and change that, but you can't do anything else to the car. But yeah, what a heartbreak for this automatic racing team. I mean, they've had just horrific luck. These cars didn't make the trip out to the West Coast, nor were they at Mid-Ohio last time out. So it's good to see that they're back again, particularly with 2 cars. But unfortunately, it's just been a really, really difficult start to the race for them, and they had problems yesterday in qualifying as well. So John Potter did a really nice job. He qualified that car mid-pack, 14th. Good effort for him. Doesn't drive this car very often. He's used to driving GT3 car, of course, for his Magnus Racing entry, but enjoying a little bit more track time this weekend, and he was taking full advantage of it. But something's clearly gone wrong with that car. But meanwhile, out front, Trent Hinman was checking out at the front of the field. He'd pulled out a couple of seconds over Paul Holton, who himself was nearly 3 seconds ahead of the McLaren that moved up into 3rd place after the problem with the punctured tyre for the number 19 sent that to pit lane.
A stroke of luck for Rory Van der Steur, who has stayed on the lead lap. He's hustling around, just come out of the boot, and he will be right at the back of the field, but he is still on the lead lap. I'm checking to see where LP Montour is. He is just crossing the line now, yeah. I think, but he has dropped the lap. He's showing us 4 laps completed, having crossed the line in the 6 car. So the initial pit stop and then the drive-through, and he's now on the back of the field, but a lap off the lead. Also showing as a lap off the lead at the moment. Let me just refresh my timing just to make sure that we aren't missing something here, because also at the back end of the field, no, that's right. Rory Van der Steur has now caught up, and he will be on the back of the field in a moment. Brady Behrman in the Van der Steur, and the other Van der Steur Aston is also right at the back of the field, so he's had an issue as well and has been down the pit lane, that number 24 car. So he pitted before his team leader. Let's see if we can find out from Shea why the other Van der Steur Racing car came in as well. Please don't tell me they hit each other. They were nowhere near they weren't anywhere near each other on the track. The Hart car went behind the wall, and William Talley didn't actually take the start for KMW Motorsports and the Aston. The automatic racing 09 car, if you're watching timing, it's showing on the move at the moment, but it is being towed right now. So John Potter still behind the wheel of that car. Well, can I just say we've had enough excitement now? Can we just have some racing, please, Jeremy, do you think?
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, it often seems to be the case, doesn't it, in the Michelin Pilot Challenge race? We have some dramas early on, and then we have a brilliant race towards the end. Well, if we have that again here, I'll be quite happy. Last time out, a couple of weeks ago at Mid-Ohio, it was just a sensational motor race. There were a couple of caution periods during the 4-hour race, but they really didn't affect a whole heck of a lot, other than make it really interesting in terms of strategies, because a few cars are trying to stretch their fuel to the end.
Well, and that was the next question, Jeremy. With this 15 minutes, early 15 minutes yellow flag period, with the start being delayed for a lap as well, how does that help or hinder or at least affect the strategies playing out in, first of all, let's talk about GS, because TCR can always pretty much do these 2-hour races on just one stop. It's a little more difficult for the GS, but surely they've got to be getting into the window already for a one-stop race.
The TCRs, yeah, they can definitely do a one-stop from here, no question about it. The GS cars, no, it's not going to make that much effect now, particularly with the pits being closed. You can't come in and top off the car with fuel under yellow. You can come in, if you're towards the end of the field, you can come in when we go back to green and top it off, and with this a long lap here, you'll stay on the lead lap. That could be beneficial later on if there's another full course caution, because the next caution, even if it's within 15 minutes of the restart here, it will be, the pits will be opened and we will go through the sequence. So it's only the short yellows, there's only 15 minutes after a restart or the start of the race. But if there's 2 in a row, then the second one is not a short yellow, it's a full yellow.
So we're doing the class split at the moment. Perfect afternoon for racing. Little bit of overcast, 90 Fahrenheit is 30 in the air, a little bit under that. Humidity's dropped right back, actually. It's only 58%. It was 78% this morning. Track temperature, toasty at the moment. That is at 99 Fahrenheit. And that's 37 or thereabouts. So lovely at the moment, but on the flip of a coin, things can change here. TCR's been put behind all of the GS cars, and that's been done very efficiently enough that we'll go back to green at the end of the lap in which that class split has been enacted. Take 3 for Trent Hinman as he comes to the line and sees the green flag. It's a single file restart, of course, this time, and we're green flag with 1:41 and 29, 28, 27 seconds to go. Brilliant restart from the RS1 driver Trent Hinman. TGM Paul Holden in second place. Round the outside into turn 1 for the Motorsports in action. McLaren Artura. It was Mackay Stevens looking on the inside, in fact, of the GF Motorsports car, and they toughed it out, the pair of them, as you were. 3rd and 4th place for Jesse Lazar and Mackay Stevens as they head down to the inner loop. 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, cross the track for a moment, down the inside for the turn of BMW. That was Francis Seldorf and Dylan McAvan there in the 2 blue and yellow cars. And right now, they've got Nikita Lastokin between them, and that means it's a move up for Seldorf, up into 7th position in the 96 car. Here comes the Carbon BMW, back from the dead. It lives, it has fire in its belly, and it's trying to make the overtake. The green, and grey car up the inside into turn number 7. And that's a good pass, good and clean pass from that car as it went up the inside of the number 91 Kelly Moss Racing machine. Michael McCarthy then in 12th position. Now moves back to 13th as Sean McAllister has had a brilliant opening stanza here, Jeremy, coming from the back of that GS field, already up into 12th position.
That's right, he'd overtaken 10 cars in those 3 laps of racing before we went yellow there. Now he's made up another position and continued to move his way forward. He lost a place there, maybe at turn 9. I think he ran a little bit wide, so he's going to have to make that pass again on that Porsche of Kelly Moss with Riley. But it's certainly been an excellent start to the race for Sean McAllister, and clearly that car is running nicely.
Some penalties coming in for jump starts as well. Get back to that in a minute, because the other automatic Aston has got a problem, and it's dead stick out on the circuit. Control-Alt-Delete, the 3-fingered salute has worked for the number 9 Invisible Glass car coming out of the toe of the boot. What is going on today? These cars normally so reliable, and all of a sudden we've had a raft of technical gremlins. Well, maybe the technical gremlin was banished from the Carbon BMW number 39, but it's popping up in some of the competitor cars. Hinman still leads by a second from Paul Holton for Team TGM's Aston in second. Third is Jesse Lazar for the light blue Artura GT4 Motorsport in Action number 69 car. Here are those penalties. 82, 71 and 43, drive through for a jump start. Changing lanes at the start, car 16 out of line at the restart, 61. This is all at the restart. The first start is still under review. I normally don't just read out the numbers, but there's so many of them there that I'll let you suss out who they are yourself through that. That is an extraordinary tale of war, with 5 cars having infractions at that last restart. What a drive through the field by the number 39. And we've got the number 9 automatic Aston having stopped just again. Should mention that Jeremy Shaw's tactical advantage was taken up by the following: Frank Depew for Rebel Rock Racing, Stephen Cameron Racing, Sean Quinlan, 71.43. Oh no, these are the, check that back, these are the cars taking, some of the cars there are taking their drive-through. I'll tick those off in a moment. Let's go to the pit lane. BDO pit lane reporter is Shea Adam with Tom Long.
Well, Tom, this definitely is not the way that I wanted to come talk to you, to welcome you back to the paddock with automatic racing. First, before we get to the bad stuff, how good is it to be back?
Oh, it feels great to be back. I love IMSA racing. I mean, the Michelin Pilot Series is my home. I feel like all the way back before it was IMSA, I was doing these races here at Watkins Glen, and it's just it's a tremendous homecoming in many ways, and I'm excited to keep after it. I mean, I feel like I'm training harder and being more than ready than ever, and yeah, it's a disappointing week so far.
Out on track, is it the 3 words we hate the most: intermittent electrical gremlin?
Yeah, you got it. It's, as a friend of mine was joking, it's just got to be a ground. We got to find the right one, I guess.
Well, good luck the rest of the weekend. Hope we get to see you again this year.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be working hard at it. Thank you so much.
So all of the penalties that I mentioned for Gavin Ernston in the Roadshagger Racing car for out of line, he's already been through the pit lane. There's quite a few of the TCR runners as well there that went through. I think they've all been served as we went through at the first end of the first restart lap. The number 9 automatic Aston is moving slowly. It was to left-hand side. Michelin's on the grass. That last time I saw him, he's headed into the inner loop at the moment. Chris Miller leads TCR from Harry Gottsacker, so it's Audi ahead of a horde of Hyundais. Brian Herder Autosport 33, Brian Herder Autosport 98, Victor Gonzalez Racing 80, and Taylor Hagler makes up the top 5 with her number 77 Hyundai Elantra before. Dai Yoshihara, who was leading the TCR battle, now down in 6th position after the restart. What an opening 25 minutes. Jeremy Shaw, sum that up.
Yeah, chaos, I think would be the one word to describe that. Just way too many penalties, way too many incidents. Let's hope we can settle down now. Good start though by the JDC Miller Motorsports car in TCR, that yellow, black and white car for Chris Miller at the wheel of that car. He didn't qualify perhaps where he expected, but he's where he wants to be right now. That's the championship leader. Started off the season with 3 straight wins. They were 3rd last time out at Mid-Ohio, and exactly here he is now back in the lead of this race with the 2 Brian Herder cars behind him. And Dai Yoshihara, the best now with the Montreal Motorsport Group Hondas, in 4th place.
Shea Adam has news from Van der Steur Racing in this PDO pit lane report.
They are changing both of the rear tires this time. I do not see any damage to the right rear Michelin. Let me walk around to the left side. No, indeed, both Michelin tires coming off the rear of the number 82 Van der Steur Racing Aston Martin are good. Out goes it again. Scott Glen still not behind the wheel, and the caution is out. The pits are closed.
This is for the Aston, the automatic Aston, who tried to do the cut through on the NASCAR run, and the car has stopped again on the exit of turn 9. It's in a very dangerous spot. Absolutely nothing race control could do to that. By the way, that pit stop for Van der Steur was for the Brady Behrman 82 car that Shea was describing there. That has got back out again and has still managed not to lose a lap. But this is Brandon Kidd in the Aston Martin, and we are once again behind our Corvette safety car. That number 9 car was shown us behind the wall in a place of safety at one time, and now it's got going again. Now it's only got to get round one more corner. You could almost coast it in from here. There's clearly a recurring problem with that, Jeremy, and I think IMSA will want the team to make sure that that car can be mobile. Everything switched off again by Brandon. The lights have gone out. He's going through the reset procedure again, but IMSA will want to ensure that that car is in a raceable state before it leaves the pit lane again, I think.
Yeah, they will, and but what a shame for Brandon Kidd. I mean, he's a really talented guy. He'll have a lot of support. He's originally from Syracuse, lives I think now in Rochester. So this is very much his home track, and he always joins this automatic racing team whenever he can. It's great to see him back, and just such a shame for him because he hasn't been able to show his full capabilities all weekend long. He's had niggly problems with that car. Didn't get a chance to qualify at all. Well, he did. Yeah, no, he did qualify actually. They got the car running for qualifying. He did. Did he? Wrong chart. No, he didn't. No, that's right. The car was at the back there. So just really disappointing for him because he was looking forward to a good, strong run. He's always run well here in the past. I was looking to do so again, but just the car just won't let him.
So all of those cars that had the drive-through penalties, including Gavin Ernstern for being out of line at the restart, they're all going to be back on the end of their respective classes. Gavin just getting back on now, and the GS pits are open this time around. Shea Adam, where have you stationed yourself for this?
Very strategically, John, because I'm following up on a story that last came into effect during the 4-hour race. Motorsport in action with their Michelin Artura GT4 were leading soundly when they came into the pit lane for their first stop, and then the air jack failed. Well, they know what it was now. They showed me pictures, not good. It was a parts failure in essence, and they have fixed that. But I want to make sure that history does not repeat itself for this poor team. So when the number 69 McLaren comes into the pit box, I'm standing right in front of it. And actually, they've got the team owner and manager on the signboard, so he too wants a better view to make sure that everything goes as planned. It will be 4 sticker tires, no driver change as of yet though for the McLaren, and they're just one of a slew of teams who are planning to come in, including JMF Motorsport. Their Mercedes pit board is down as well.
They're just pausing, bringing the Stricken automatic 9 car in to allow the GS cars into the pit lane first. And so pretty much I think everybody will come to the pit lane this time around. There is an hour and 30 minutes remaining. 2 45-minute stints sounds pretty doable for me. It still will be 1 pit stop for the GS cars to get the end from here. Shay Adam has this BDO pit lane report.
I have some pit takers, but not the Mia McLaren as expected, so that's interesting. So I'll walk a couple up. The 88 Archangel Motorsport Aston Martin that won the last race, they are doing fuel and front end tires. Wheels are still spinning on the back for Todd Coleman. No driver change either for this car. A splash of fuel only for Rory van der Steur. And into the lane came the 34 Mercedes. They did fuel and tires for the JMF car. They've done fuel and tires for the 91 Porsche as well. That's Kelly Moss with Riley. We've got Jensen Altman in for Ford and for MMR, looking for a bit of redemption. No spoilers from earlier on, but it is still Jensen staying aboard. And because we have not yet gotten anywhere near that 40-minute minimum drive time, that means no driver changes are taking place as of yet, at least no driver changes where then the starting driver would need to get back in. That will be a drive-through for the wheels spinning on the air jacks for the 88, and Todd Coleman now leaves. He is the second to last car on the pit lane. The last car will be the 43 Ford Mustang. That's the Stephen Cameron racing car that was started by Sean Quinlan and is still driven by Sean Quinlan.
And he drops in dutifully behind the green Aston Martin as they head out of pit lane. So Trent Hinman stayed out for Porsche and for RS1. Motorsport in action, Jesse Lazare, McLaren Artura now in second, stayed out. Jake Pedersen for Kelly Moss Racing in his Porsche, the 21 stayed out. The number 44 of Moitzi Oretsky, Baby Bull Racing Porsche, stayed out. Carbon Sean McAllister stayed out. He'd had a really good start the race anyway, but he's staying out and taking the track position for the restart. And Bob McCallion stayed out for Core Motorsports in his Ford Mustang GT4, the number 59. We'll see how they form back up behind him. I think BGB Tom Collingwood stayed out as well. Yes, he did. And so did, well, we haven't had the TCR cars into the pit lane as yet. We are just over half an hour in. It's been action and drama packed here at Watkins Glen International, live in sound and vision for those of you outside of the US. This is the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, the Esses 120 at the Glen, live from the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre with Shea Adam as our BDO pit lane reporter. Jeremy Shaw, what's the thinking behind those top 6 staying out?
Well, I mean, what the really interesting thing part of that for me was the Team TGM. Generally speaking, they will bring Ted Giovannis in because he's at the back of the pack in any case, and dropped all behind the TCRs. With these yellows, he'd been able to at least get back past the TCRs and gain some track position. Normally, they would bring him in to give Hugh Plum an opportunity to make a shorter stop next time around and get him up the field a little bit. But this time, they only have one pit crew at Team TGM, so they elected, the focus now is on winning the championship, because number 46 guys lead in the championship, and they elected to come in from second position, so they give up an awful lot of track position there, and they were perhaps a little fortunate that so many other cars came in, because now when they come in again after the minimum 40 minutes to change their driver, as we see the TCR championship leader coming in and making a stop. then it'll be a shorter stop for that number 46. It will vault them up the field some more places, but they're already at the front of those cars that have just made a pit stop.
Jeremy mentioned that the championship leader came in and it was front tires and fuel for Chris Miller, but beating him back out on the racetrack, second in the championship, the number 76, it's Preston Brown, who started the Brian Hurt Autosport Hyundai. He stayed aboard. They did a splash of fuel just to try and get him that valuable track position.
Harry Gottsach stayed out in the 33 TCR Hyundai. Mason Felipe in the similar 98 car. Taylor Hagler now up to third, having stayed out in the 77. Chase Jones for Victor Gonzalez Racing stayed out in the number 80. That's another Hyundai Elantra, as did his teammate Clayton Williams in the 99. Top 5 now, Hyundai Elantra ends. 6th position, Racers Edge, Honda Civic FK7, the new shape car, Daniel Wu, also staying out. Dai Yoshihara came in for the Montreal Motorsport team. He came in again in the for the first time rather in the number 93 car, and therefore we will see those guys come back. There is no final wave by, as the pits are now open for all cars. We will, however,
and John,
we still do the class split, as the lights are still on the Corvette safety car as it comes through back on this substandard part of the circuit, or back out of the loop, should I say, out of the boot, and heading back towards us. A line of Hyundais, very impressive top 3 of them in the Brian Herter Autosport, that eggshell blue Hyundai N colourway.
Yeah, John, the
N4 either Nanking, which is where the R&D centre is, or Nordschleife, where the performance centre is located on Gottlieb Daimlerstraße, which runs parallel to the Donniger, the long straight. Right, here is the class split. Whilst that goes on, Jeremy Shaw with some observations from those pit stops in TCR.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the number 17 car come onto pit lane. For TCR, they can't get to the end of the race from here, and nor can GS for sure. And that is why most of the leaders in TCR did not come onto the pit lane. It makes sense for Preston Brown certainly to come onto pit lane in car number 76, because he's not as quick as his teammate Denny Dupont. He's a lot faster. He's a potential superstar in these cars. So for him, his next stop will be shorter. That will help him. But Chris Miller's pretty fast. He was leading the class. Now he's given up all that track position. And yes, it means that when they do come in to change over to Mikey Taylor, his stop will be a little bit quicker than some of these other contenders that have not pitted yet. But I don't think it's be quite the same sort of advantage as it would be in GS.
An hour and 23 minutes to go exactly. 22, 59, 58, 57, 56. So just 3 minutes, or probably 1 racing lap after the restart, will be at minimum drive time. Somebody just dived into pit road to my right. It is the Honda number 73, and the Alpha's back out. The Alpha is back out as well, many laps down, back onto pit road with some damage to the left rear of that car earlier on the formation lap. Let's not forget. So the class split is going on. We'll go great next time by, and by the time we've completed a racing lap, we should have completed 40 minutes. That's the minimum drive time for everyone. So tactically, who has got this right? Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
Well, the Alfa Romeo coming back up from behind the wall is critical, because if they hadn't, John, they wouldn't have been classified as starting the race, so they wouldn't have even been eligible for last place points. That would have taken them completely out of the championship. But while they still have a fight back, this at least gives them a chance.
That's a very good point, Shea, that I hadn't thought about, because effectively, as you rightly say, they hadn't taken the start. Green flag is black out, and we are racing again. And copybook restart by Trent Hinman. Porsche versus BMW. Further back is Sean McAllister and Moisey Aretsky. They're still side by side as they head into the Esses. Respectful distance between them, and McAllister goes around. What a drive this has been early on. This was the car that had to come back to life and have the heart transplant from the broken car from the last race at Mid-Ohio. Picked his way through the field, stayed out there, and will do another lap. Or this lap of green, we should be all right. None of those front 8 cars have yet been into the pit lane, and drive time is up in 19 seconds from now, and that's the strategic call, Jeremy, that they've made. That's why they stayed out. They wanted to get their driver change done, because of course everyone who came in before has not done their driver change.
Correct. But for these, I mean, generally speaking, the thing that takes longest during a full service pit stop is the driver change. And if you can, you know, the fueling sometimes is around, it's similar, but it can be a little bit more, certainly in WeatherTech. It's certainly the driver change that takes the longest thing. Here, maybe the fueling does a little bit more, but by taking on fuel already, they will need less fuel this time around, and they should be able to get out with a shorter stop overall. So,
no, that's fine. That's fine. A couple of penalties from that Dai Yoshihara. Pit lane speeding. He'll have to come down again through the pit lane. What started as a great day for Montreal Motorsport has just gone very bad indeed. And Bryce Ward in the 57 Winward Mercedes running over equipment, and that is a drive-through as well. Bryce in the pit lane now. Sean McAllister up now into 3rd position from the back of the grid. Now they're playing the tactical game at the moment. They could have come in at the end of that lap. They have chosen not to, and why should they? Sean's doing a cracking job, 0.8 of a second away from Jesse Lazar in second for the Mia McLaren, who's 2.5 seconds away from Trent Hinman. I understand why Trent is staying out there, because he, in the respect of that car, he would be seen as the senior driver. He'll go as deep into the race as he possibly can and try and build up a lead, but the worry there is that they keep getting dragged back because of the safety car interventions. Battle for second at turn number 7. That is the toe of the boot. And at the moment, the McLaren, the low slung McLaren, looks tiny compared to the BMW M4 that's sitting in behind it. They are battling for second position all the while, and they're battling. Trent Hinman is building a handy lead. Backpack further back behind the number 38 Tom Collingwood, PGP. Kai Stevens, having made his pit stop for GMF, in 10th position. Frank Depew, see above comment, Rebel Rock Racing in there as well in the dark green. There's the confirmation of the number 6 car with a pit lane speed violation as well. So that's both of the Montreal Motorsport cars. I wonder if they have got their pit lane speed limit incorrectly set. It was only +1. You don't get any wiggle room for that. Trent Hinman puts the fastest lap of the race in. So that, I said it was going from bad to worse for Montreal Motorsport and their Hondas. Jeremy, what started off as a more than promising potential day has disintegrated before their eyes.
It really has. I mean, everything that I think pretty much now everything that can go wrong has gone wrong with those two cars, and they've still got an hour and 60 minutes to make it up again. So thinking positive perhaps, but the number 6 car is already a lap down, and with an extra drive-through penalty as well, it's really going to be they just made life even more difficult for themselves. Really unfortunate.
The other car involved in the incident with the Alpha at the formation lap, the 89 Hart Honda Civic, also back from behind the wall. So with the Aston back as well, I think. I know the 09's not back out. Automatic number 9 in the pit lane. Ken Fukuda for Skip Barber in the pit lane as well. Team TGM have made their first pit stop, and that is a driver change just after the 40-minute mark. So Hugh Plum is the first car, I reckon, to have done the driver stop. Hour and 15 to go for that car. Trent Hinman still leads, and 4 seconds now. Jesse Lazar, Sean McAllister battling. A little battling duel there. Then Jake Petterson and Kelly Moss. Moisey Oretsky for Baby Paul and Paul Holton for Team TGM. Oh, and a touch between Michael McCarthy and Frank Depew coming out of the final corner. Frank Depew will go straight to the pit lane if he's got enough lock, as in comes Gavin Ernstone. Now, is there damage to that car? There was a pretty heavy clunk on the right rear. Now, if Frank can get into the pit lane here, he can do his pit stop. He's got a first gear. And surely he will come in and hand the car over to his teammate, Robin Liddell. So, round the outside. Now, was there a touch, or was it just...
Oh, yeah. I think there was contact, John, and I mean,
and you've got to give racing room.
Inside. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you've got to at the onboard.
The Porsche came right from the curb. Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were absolutely alongside going into the corner. No doubt about it. It wasn't a late lunge down the inside by the Porsche.
They might be looking at the amount of track or off track that the Porsche took on the previous corner as well there, but there was clearly room to the right on the Porsche. It wasn't like he was riding the curb, so that's going to be a tough one for race control. It could be a no call. I could see an FA. Shea Adam is down with Rebel Rock Racing.
No damage to this Aston Martin, which now has Robin Liddell installed behind the wheel as he tries to find first gear. Full course yellow is out, so that means that the 2 cars who managed to make it in before, which would be the number 61, which now has John Morley aboard for Road Shagger Racing, and Robin Liddell, they should cycle around pretty far up.
This is for a separate incident. The Chase Jones Victor Gonzalez racing car has had an incident. The number 80, the red and white car, front right of that car. This is turn 6, been into the barriers there and bounced out. Shea Adam, I think, said that Robin Liddell ran the red light at the end of pit lane. Surely not, Shea.
No, it's green. It was red and it went green as Robin was about halfway down, so he was clear to leave. I've been staring at it the whole time, and it is green. So Robin managed to get out. If it was supposed to be red, that's one thing, but it was illuminated green, like his car.
Contact between Jake Petterson, Kelly Moss. He's had a trying day, has young Petterson, and the 21 car involved with that contact with the number 80 Chase Jones Victor Gonzalez Racing. Safety crews are there, and the front of that car to the right hand side is destroyed. Well, impatience may be coming back through traffic, but another car, Jeremy, with the damage to the front end, and that's turn 6 barriers that are going to need looking at as well. Back under yellow.
Yeah, this race just won't get going, will it? It's been very, 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 very messy so far. It's such a shame because there's been some really good racing going on. I mean, apart from at the front, Trent Him is just every time there's a green, he just romps away into the distance. This time, he set a new fastest lap of the race on lap 17, so 2 laps ago, at a 156.141. There's only, I think, maybe three other cars have been in the 56s. So he's got a massive advantage over everybody else in the early stage of this race, and he's been using it. But behind, it's just been absolute carnage. I mean, the guy who's in great shape right now is Paul Holton. They've already made a pit stop. He's in 4th position now. It's going to be a quick stop when everybody will come in during this caution period. And what, an hour and 10 minutes to go. He may well come in now, and if the race carries on like this, he may well be able to get to the end of the race from here. Yeah, it's playing out into that team's hands, and this has been a very messy race, but there's still a long way to go, and anything, things can change very, very quickly, as we've seen.
There'll be no pass around here. So we started with 1 lap of yellow, which was, I'm afraid, to set the standard for later on in the race. At that point, that wasn't enough yellow flag for the GS cars to make 1 stop only. The TCRs can pretty much always do 2 hours, even a full green 2 hours. It depends on the track, but generally speaking, we think of those guys as going just to the hour or beyond. The GS cars need a little more help. They'll normally split it up into thirds, or at least look at how the strategy plays out. Now, we're only 10 minutes away from going into the 2nd hour of the race. So if you're RS1 and Motorsports in Action and Carbon and Team TGM, actually that car's been through the pit lane, hasn't it, the Paul Holton car?
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Jeremy, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about he did not do his driver change, though. Paul Holton started that car.
Correct.
So we still need to get the 2nd driver in, but not anytime soon. That's all right.
No. Well, I mean, he'll come in now, I would think, John, and make the driver change. And like I said a few minutes ago, if there's lots more caution like this, from here he might even be able to get to the end. There's 69 minutes remaining in this race.
Yeah, it might open.
So he will definitely come in.
So going back through this race in the past, in its previous iteration, there was a bit of fuel saving. I seem to remember buying Aston here, going back through the years. Al Carter, was it, in the Aston, who soft pedalled home in, as I say, the previous incarnation of this race. Robin Liddell got in and out before the yellow came. He should still be on the lead lap because Franklin stayed out.
Yeah, but he lost so much time coming into the pits.
Oh, okay, right.
With that spin.
Okay. So is Hugh Plum off the lead lap as well in the 64 Team TGM car?
I think so.
That's who's Robin is right behind. Right. Okay.
I mean, they will stay out now, so we'll probably get that lap back.
It's more normal,
Oh, good point, actually. Good point. This is another short yellow, isn't it? Because we had a full.
I would think
thing
so.
Last time. Beg your pardon. You're absolutely right, John. Yes, this will be a short yellow. Sorry.
Yeah. And I'm just checking back to make sure that I'm not going mad. It was called as a short yellow at 42. A lot of teams up on the wall, presumably, Shea Adam, they're going to bring their cars in off the end of this yellow flag period.
Unless they're all trying to psych me out, yes, I would imagine that that's what the plan is going to be. We do not have RS1 up on the wall, so Trent Hinman will be staying out, but drivers such as Kenton Cook for Random Vandals Racing in their BMW, he's in position ready to climb aboard. Jeff Westphal is still sitting on the box next to Steve Dinan, pulled his helmet off, so they told him, no, you're going to get a little bit while of a break longer. But Tyler Gonzalez for VGRT in the number 99 Hyundai, he's been up on the wall ready to get in the car. He's always ready to get in the car, though, let's be honest, John. He's been up there for a few minutes now waiting his turn. And Daniel Morad, I see, is very much also getting ready to get in the Windward Racing Mercedes. So quite a few teams down toward the pit out end of things who are ready to go. And pit in, Mia, well, they've been set up for, is it 25 minutes now since I last told you that they were going to do a stop? They've been ready for a while.
Shea Adam with that BDO pit lane report. The strategy now for RS1 is that Trent Hinman gets his foot down until he sees the fuel alarm. And if he has to make a green flag pit stop, so be it. But he'll do, I reckon he'll go well beyond the hour mark now. And at that point, there will be fuel in that RS1 to go all the way to the end. Jensen Altsman, number 13. The grey Mustang that now has a running pony on the side of that car. The incident involving the Porsche number 91 and the 71 Aston at turn 11, which turned around Frank Depew, has been reviewed. No action. Side-by-side contact there. He's still waiting to clear the number 21 Jake Peterson, Kelly Moss with Riley Porsche. That car is now in the pits, so that's
that car just stopped, I think, didn't it, John?
So safety car lights look like they are out. Chase Jones, by the way, in that number 80 car, which I thought would be out of the race for Victor Gonzalez Racing. That looks like the 80 car's back out on the track, so the right front damage was bodywork only. Incredible. Having hit the wall at turn 6, very, very hard indeed. So we keep getting cars sideswiping, hitting the wall, and yet right now it is only John Potter's Automatic Racing 09 Aston Martin. Now seeing that Chase Jones in the Hyundai is shown as stopped out on the circuit. So we might not yet go to green. He's in the last sector somewhere. Well, restart coming with an hour and 4 minutes to go. Remember, for driver time in the pit lane does not count, so those who have been in the pit lane and not changed driver, they're going to have to be certain that they have hit their pit time. Everybody coming into the pit lane from the front of the field, but I'm surprised about that. But Trent Hinman must be low on fuel, follows in the safety car. 3 wide on the front straight. TGM, Carbon, and down the inside, the 44 Baby Bull Racing Porsche is pushed to the lead by the Van der Star Racing Aston Martin that drops into second. That was a proper restart. Marvellous stuff down to turn number 1. And Moise Aretsky is leading in the multicoloured Porsche from in second place. Rory van der Steur, who was in danger of going a lap down early on. And here comes Robin Liddell fighting his way through. He's trying to get back on the lead lap. This is his opportunity to do just that as they're going through the inner loop. Well, what a run by van der Steur in his own named car, of course. That is an absolute cracking run for them. Pit stops for some of the TCR front runners as well. Shea Adam is watching those. We'll get back to that in a moment. But the action is on at the front of the field. And keep an eye on the dark green Aston Martin with the red lipstick and red mirrors. It's 5th in line going through the heel of the boot, the toe of the boot, and trying to get a lap back and work up at any potential safety car. And down in the pit lane, plenty of action. Shea Adam is watching the Mia McLaren come out, and the door was open on that car, Shea.
Driver's side door was sticking way up, and Johnny Nuts, the lead pit lane official, was gesticulating to him, close your door. He did manage to reach up, did Michael De Quesada, and slam the door shut. Now let's hope it stays shut. It was fuel, tires, and driver change. For Mia, for the RS1 Porsche, it's closed now, the door on the Mia McLaren, but let's see if it stays because it was closed when they finished the stop. The RS1 Porsche was the third car to leave the pit lane. Stephen McAleer has taken over fuel and tires for that car. The first car back out was the number 92 Random Vandals. That's now Kenton Cook aboard that BMW. The second car back out, Daniel Morad for Windward Racing.
Another raft of pit lane penalties coming in a moment. We'll confirm then as we're settling into an extraordinary race with the Van der Steur Racing Aston Martin being scored in the lead. I don't think that's right. Just got a slight issue. We'll see what we can see.
I think it
has
is.
Aretsky pushed himself back? Yes, it has. Well, my apologies. Aretsky making a mistake was leading the race, and it's Aston Martin 1 and 2 with BMW 3. Aretsky dropping down now as Robin Liddell goes down the inside into the carousel and now onto the chute. So Van der Steur, from being nerfed down to the back of the field, then having a drive through, now at the front of the field, Jeremy. What a way to work the opportunities they've been given. And Paul Holton still in the car from the start, those two drivers. He's right there in second place as well.
Yeah, the two-turner motorsport BMW side by side. We've seen that several times, I think, already today, down at the toe of the boot. But yeah, it's looking good for Aston Martin right now, first and second. Sean McAllister from the back of the field up to third position. Rory van der Steur's come from the back of the field, but in a different way. He started up towards the front and then fell back, and now has come to the front again. It's been a remarkable topsy-turvy race, hasn't it?
It has.
And still exactly an hour to go.
Halfway through the race, the latest set of pit penalties coming through, a variety of offences. The number 43 driving over equipment, the 69, 61, 69 with a wheel rotation while elevated. That's going to be a drive through. 61 same, and 16 running over pit equipment. So 4 drive-throughs from that. I know the European and Copa America football championships, soccer championships on at the moment, but do we have to have penalties in this race to compete against that? I'm not sure. More penalties than a 0-0 draw in a quarter-final and the shootout. Side-by-side action for second position, and the Carbon BMW, Jeremy Shaw, continues to claw its way up the field.
Yeah, it does. And Sean McAllister, who is, doesn't have the same sort of experience as Jeff Westphal, who is super fast. But I tell you what, Sean has really improved this season. He's working really well with Jeff Westphal, who's helping him as a driver coach and a co-driver. And Sean is really reaping the benefits of that. He's qualified well on several occasions this season. Pole position, I think, didn't he? And he's showing that now he had a pole position for the Daytona, the first race of the season. So he's driving absolutely beautifully. There he is side by side with the championship leader Paul Holton and Robin Liddell, who's still a lap down, of course. So Paul Holton's got to be careful here. He might not be too much of a problem for him at this stage to let Robin Liddell go. What he does not want to do is tangle with Robin Liddell.
Another penalty as well. This time for Tazio Otis for Racers Edge Honda Civic, working on that number 73 car outside of the box. That'll be a drive-through as well. In fact, that car is in the lane as I speak. At the front of the field, the BMW has literally got a new lease of life from Carbon. This is the replacement car, and has had the heart transplant from the car that was crashed a couple of weekends ago at Mid-Ohio in the 4-hour race. And the lead battle heads up the Esses, and Shea Adam has Paul Holton for Team TGM Aston Martin in the pit lane.
very impressive maneuver from Paul Holden to get out of that Aston Martin actually and allow Matt Plum to climb aboard as they have done the driver change. Tires are done on the left front, waiting for the right front. They are doing 4 tires. This is the second stop for this car. This is the first time a set of stickers have been thrown at it in this race. Fueling is done, but the tire change is still taking longer. Waiting on the right rear. There we go, the mechanic gets up, pulls the car down, and Paul is sent. He is out behind Kenton Cook. He is out behind Daniel Morad. And where is he gonna stack up as compared to Stephen McAleer? Behind Stephen McAleer as well.
RS1 made its pit stop a lap or 2 ago. They've had the advantage of getting their Michelin tyres up to temperature and pressure in a little bit of clear air off the back of the field. After the restart, Rory van der Steur, then starting driver, still at the head of the field from Carbons. Sean McAllister in TCR, Chris Miller for Audi, leads Mason Filippi for Hyundai. Filippi's not stopped yet. And Dai Yoshihara, after what looked to have been a torrid day, he's back up to 3rd, but has not yet, of course, made the driver change on that car, despite being down the pit lane a couple of times for various issues, tyre problems and a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So they're going to have to be careful that they don't do that again. Here's Robin Liddell on the leaders, trying to get back on the lead lap as the lead changes. Now that's bad news for Robin Liddell, because he was gaining on those 2 when it was the Aston leading, but he's dragging through behind the Van der Steur racing car up through the Esses. Will he push Rory back to the lead? 3 cars battling for positions, one of them a lap down there. In behind them is the number 64 as well, trying to get the lap back as well. So the green Aston and the multicoloured Aston are trying to get the laps back on the 2 leading cars. Confirm the change of lead now, as the Carbon car has made its way from the back of the grid, having not qualified at all due to their electrical problems, now leads and is putting a gap into the rest of the field. The 2nd placed Aston is 2nd in the race, and then the next 2 Astons are a lap back and desperately trying to get on terms with that Sean McAllister Carbon car. Now, of course, that car hasn't stopped yet, so it will have to come in to the pit lane. Lovely pass for the lead. Sean McAllister down the inside into turn 1. That's pretty much a textbook pass here at this track, Jeremy.
Yes, indeed it is, but he carried a bit too much speed into the corner and ran a bit wide, and that allowed Rory van der Steur to get back alongside him again. Really heads-up driving here from Robin Liddell. He didn't push the issue there. He could have done. He could have made life really, really difficult for his fellow Aston driver and potentially caused a massive wreck. Heads-up driving there from Liddell for backing off just a little bit and allowing Rory van der Steur to stay ahead of him at that instance at least. And as you said, right behind those 2 is number 64 car.
He's the leader in the pit lane.
His lap back as well.
Leader in the pit lane. So now Robin Liddell needs to get past Van der Steur to get back effectively
and
on
Hugh Plum.
the lead.
Don't forget Hugh Plum.
He's right in his wheel tracks there. Yeah, absolutely. Mackay Stevens in 2nd place at the moment for JMF in the Mercedes. Shea Adam is watching the stop of the Carbon car from back to front and halfway through the race. Shea.
An ultimate moment of Roadrunner symptom going on when Jeff Westphal ran around the side of the car. His legs were moving so fast you couldn't even see them. They were a blur. They are doing fuel and 4 new Michelin tires for this back from the dead after his brain transplant, number 39 Carbon BMW. A couple boxes up, we've also got the 59. That's the Core Motorsport Mustang. They are doing fuel tires and putting Luca Mars aboard that car to take it to the checkered flag. And we did just have McCumbin McAleer racing in. It was Jensen Ultimate who brought the car in. It's Chad who's going to be taking it to the finish, the Chad McCumbee, and they did fuel tires and a driver change, and also in our championship leader in TCR, that's the number 17, JDC Miller Motorsport, the Unitronic car. They've done fuel and tires. Mikey Taylor has taken over for Chris Miller, so they have used 2 new sets of front tires during this race.
Adam with our BTO pit lane report. A slow-moving car was Carl Whitmer a moment or 2 ago in the 93 car, but I think he's got that going again. I was just waiting to see if we had to go yellow, but we have not. We've stayed green. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, and from that, cars pitting on this last lap, they can easily get to the end from here, going flat out, no fuel save required for them. For those cars that were in earlier, particularly number 28 and 69 and 57, they are definitely going to have to save some fuel in the latter stages of this race if it stays green. Robin Liddell back on the lead lap, Hugh Plum not quite on the lead lap, and it's still Rory Vance who leads. So basically, yeah, Mackay Stevens just come into the pit lane now. That's great strategy by that team as well. And Moise Uretsky, who's done a really nice job in his first stint for Baby Bull Racing. Number 34 and 44 cars on pit lane, and the number 91.
That's incredible from, again, teams using what's out there. If you've got lemons, etc., etc. Frank Depew stayed out for track position, got turned around in that incident with the Kenny Moss Porsche. No action taken on either party there, racing incident. Well, that cost him the lead lap, and Robin Liddell is now back on the lead lap and would be back to the back of the field, of course, if we got another intervention by our Corvette safety car. When did Robin get in that car? That's the question. It was, I think, about an hour and 10 ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to need an awful lot of caution now. Forget Robin Liddell at the moment. He's not a factor in this race for the front. He is back on lead lap, so he's certainly back into contention. But he's going to need yellows to get himself back into contention for a win, John.
I think you're very brave to ever say forget Robin Liddell.
No. I said unless there's a full course caution.
Unless, yes, absolutely. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindorf and Shea Adam with you. Jeremy and I in the Full Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam, our BDO pit lane reporter, still to come on this Super Saturday. Live and direct, free and uninterrupted. We'll have WeatherTech qualifying. It's our final track action of the afternoon, so stay tuned for that. But right now, we are looking at the last 50 minutes. Go, the number 55 for Eddie Go Senior. He's been in that car since the start of the race, I think. Oh no, it has been down the pit lane, Jeremy. They might have changed, but the 55 car is leading for Audi. Oh, he had a penalty early on. Shea's just reminded me. So that's Eddie Senior, who's been in that car since the start of the race, isn't it?
Yep, he's the last of the TCR cars out there. He can come in any time and hand over to his kid. But great to see that car out front. I mean, they've had all sorts of bad luck this year. They've run well on several occasions, and now a little bit of taste of the glory out in front, at least for a while.
He's just done that car's fastest lap of the race, 1:58.862, as he's burning off the VP Racing fuel at the sharp end of the field. Rory van der Steur still out there. Now the next thing we're going to look for here, and I can't believe I'm hearing myself saying this, Rory van der Steur's been in that car since the start of the race. He's got to give his teammate 40 minutes at the end.
Have you made that pit stop?
Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, the guy who's in best shape at the moment is Jesse Webb in car number 34. Good pit stop last time around for JMF. I think they got him out ahead of Daniel Morad and Stephen Macklin, both of whom I reckon should be having to save a little bit of fuel.
Keep an eye on that countdown clock. They need to have more than 40 minutes left. You don't want to cut it too fine, because the safety car lap around here is 3 and a bit minutes. So you're starting to think about that now, surely, for the top 3 cars who have not yet changed their drivers. Now, a piece of debris being thrown up on the front straight and being absolutely mullered. It's a piece of carbon fibre that was run over by, I think, the Hart car as it went through. Can't tell you what bit that is, but it's down towards the braking area of turn 1. Looks like a piece of carbon fibre that perhaps may have been a light fitting. 82 is in the pit lane for Van der Steur Racing. And that will be a driver change there. And I think that's their first driver change. It was Brady Behrman who started the car, yeah, and then he brought it in. He was up into the top 6, courtesy of that strategy.
Tell you what, John, who is also in good shape here is Kenton Cook. I didn't notice that Kenton Cook is actually ahead of Daniel Morad and Jesse Webb. Daniel Morad just got past Jesse Webb, but Kenton Cook is about 4 seconds ahead of both of them. He was one of those guys that came in on that restart lap. Paul Sparta came in on the restart lap to hand over to Kenton Cook, and Kenton's been flying since then. And he is it's a fascinating race right now because we've got completely different strategies from the different teams, but on the different strategies, Roy van der Steur is leading one of the strategies.
The pits now from the front of the field. Rory van der Steur of Van der Steur Racing are in the pit lane. Shea Adam.
I'm down here with Turner Motorsport because when we look at history and how it repeats itself so frequently, the winner of the last 3 Michelin Pilot Challenge races, Turner Motorsport with one of their BMWs. So with the number 95 coming in to do the stop, Rob McGuinness going a very long way around the car, Dylan McIlburn jumping out, and this car, this is the one with the white accents on it, the white hood. They are doing a 4-tire stop, or are they? That's the big question. No, it's going to be left sides only for Turner Motorsport. Remember, they've got Don Salam on the box, one of the best in the business as far as mines are concerned, doing windshield tear-off for Rob as well. Nope, they don't have time because they're waiting on the fueling to finish. They're going to try and beat out Rory van der Steur. Rob is set. Rob is well clear of the Aston Martin. Great stop by Turner. Let's see if they choose to do 2 tires for Robbie Foley as well.
We expect great things from Turner Motorsport. 45 minutes on the nose to go in the Aston Martin Racing number 19 for Van der Steur Racing. Valentin Asglaw is behind the wheel. Robert McGuinness took over the number 95. See Miller Motorsport Audi. So waiting for the lead car to pit. It comes in now. The lead car in TCR, the Gold Racing machine in the pit lane as well. Shea Adam is down at Turner for the blue and yellow number 96.
It was a good clean stop from Go Racing with their car. They did the front tires as is normal and did the driver change, no problems there. In comes the 96 Turner Motorsport machine. This one is the one with the hippo on the hood. Francis Soldorf telling us about that at Daytona. It's a bit of a family legend for them, bit of a good luck charm. All right, now this machine, the 96, is doing right side tires only. So the 95, the one with the white on it, did lefts. 96, the yellow and blue, they did right. So let's see which one works out better. I did hear Will Turner ask Robbie Foley, if we do 2 tires, which 2 would you want? And the answer was right sides only. Well, Kenton Cook has just gone by on the front straight. There goes Daniel Morad. There goes the 46 of Matt Plum. Then the 34 JMF Mercedes, then Stephen McAleer, and then the sister Turner Motorsport car, and then Robbie Foley features in.
Daniel Morad's just put the fastest first sector in for Winwood Racing. They're looking pretty good in 3rd position as well. Check that in 4th position in GS. This is boiling up rather nicely as the Turner Motorsport BMW number 96 with Robbie Foley on board goes through the inner loop. With the pit stop for the Gore Racing Audi, Robert Wiggins is to the lead of the number 33. At least a couple of penalties, but are still in with a shout. And John presumably going to the end. Damage at the end of the run to the inner loop, and there's a Porsche with a left rear puncture, and it is the number 38 car that has been afflicted, and it's a long way to get it back home from there. Oh my goodness me. Spencer Pumpelly, well, it's the right man for the job, very experienced driver. And Spencer Pumpelly then. Now, if he shortcuts through where the stock cars go, he will lose this lap, but I think he's going to have to. Yeah, he's going to the right. So more drama. We've stayed green for the moment. Jeremy Shaw. We'll come back to Jeremy in a moment, as we've got a battle for position. The number 19, Valentin Asclaw, Van der Steur racing car, and Robbie Foley in the 96. That is a battle for 8th position, and Asclaw goes through. So that is a new 8th position car. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, and so Will Lambros is actually leading the race at the moment in the Skip Barber Aston Martin, but he owes a pit stop. There's running over some debris there is Robbie Foley, as he works his way past the number 19 car. That is effectively for the 7th and 8th positions, with the 16 car has yet to pit. But Kenton Cook is being closed down by Daniel Morad, who doesn't seem to be saving fuel. I mean, he's been a master at saving fuel in these last several races. Has Daniel Morad up into 2nd position now, but only about a second behind him is the championship leader, Matt Plant.
.39, just under 40 minutes to go, as Will Lambros for Skip Barber, Aston Martin still leading then by 22 seconds to Kenton Cook. Riley Dickinson in the Porsche number 91 going through the toe of the boot. And also at a similar part of the circuit, the number 5 has finally, that number 38 BGB Motorsports car gets into the pit lane. Spencer Pumpelly has done a brilliant job. The carcass of the left rear Michelin just about hanging on as he crawls into his pit box, which is one of the first ones in the pit lane. Mechanic there with one brand new Michelin tyre. Have a look underneath to check to make sure everything is all right with the suspension. This has cost them so much time. How disappointing for BGB. And they've dropped off the lead lap now in GS. Under 40 minutes to go now. So if you haven't changed to your second driver, you've managed to put yourself out of the race. Will Lambros leading this, Jeremy, by 20.5 seconds, but presumably has to come in and top up at some times. We're not expecting that car, even at reduced pace, and he's at the moment he's a couple of seconds slower per lap than Kenton Cook chasing him down. But I presume that we're not expecting that Skip Barber number 16 to go to the end of the race.
Correct. No, that was last in quite a long time ago, but they haven't made the driver change because Ken Faguda started that car, so he is leading out there. He's just stretching his fuel load here before he needs to come onto the pit lane one more time.
I was not expecting to see the VGRT Hyundai in for a fuel and front tire change because they'd already done their driver change to Tyler Gonzalez a while back, but Tyler getting another set of new Michelin tires, and now he takes off, so Tyler is definitely good to the end. But Jeremy, every other TCR car should be good to the end, right?
Yeah, from now, yeah, for sure.
Tyler Gonzalez for Victor Gonzalez Racing will pick up a drive-through, multiple track violations, track limits violation. So maybe they knew that was coming and they've slapped a new set of tyres on. So the question now will be, how long will Lambros go into this race? He's lapping in the early 58, 158.2, 156.9 for Kenton Cook. It's closed down to 20 seconds away, but I'm not sure Kenton, random vandals, Jeremy, when was that car in the pits, the 92 car?
Yeah, no, that was in along with the other contenders on the restart lap. So you know, they certainly would need to save some fuel to get to the end, but they can probably make it. That's why they came in when they did. But Daniel Morad, he was closing the gap quite significantly, but no longer. But those two are on the same strategy. They both came in on that restart lap when we went back to green last time around. The top 3 cars in the race did that. I played that strategy.
Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindhoff, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, our Michelin moment of the race, one for each category, GS and TCR. Start thinking about that as we've got 35 minutes to go. Michelin moment of the race. I suspect we might not have seen it yet.
The scoring is showing number 16 car came in on the same lap as the other guys, but if that's the case, I can't figure out why he could possibly be 20 seconds ahead of Kenton Cook.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Something's fishy there.
That was the last time he was in the pit lane was a drive-through. I think for that number 16 car, he was the one. Yeah, he was the one that came in with that bunch of cars. Another penalty for the Victor Gonzalez Racing number 99 car. Fire extinguisher not properly manned. So that's multiple track limits drive-through and fire extinguisher issue for that car. That is 2 drive-throughs. That will be 2 drive-throughs for the number 99, taking them out of any hope of contention. Penalties, got to cut them down. It's the 1%. It really is the 1%. So, picking up, oh no, damage to the left rear. In fact, the whole underside of the JMF Jesse Webb Mercedes AMG GT4. That's a shame for them. He's been losing a bit of pace there, Jeremy, but it's the rear diffuser that is flapping behind the wheel on that car. It looks like, actually, it is just the left-hand side of that car.
And that's exactly the same problem they had at Mid-Ohio, isn't it? Do you remember?
Yes! Yes, well remembered.
That's bizarre. Yeah, goodness knows what they're doing there, but he's been struggling a little bit. Meanwhile, just behind them, the number 95 car did get past Stephen McAleer last time around, so number 95 car now up into the 6th position ahead of McAleer, and Has Chloe is closing in on him, Robbie Foley is closing in on him, and Jeff Westphal is closing in on him. So we've got a great battle on that. Also in TCR, we've got pretty much a 4-car battle for the lead. Last time around, Robbie Watkins managed to extend his lead just a little bit over his teammate Bryson Morris, but not by very much. And John Morley and Mikey Taylor right there.
I suspect that that's the issue for Stephen McAleer is him saving. So he's going to have to be doing quite a lot of saving to get to the end. They were in before the hour elapsed. And Shea Adam just confirming that Stephen McAleer is in fuel save mode, as is Daniel Morad for Winward Racing, although he's just put his car's fastest lap in 156.4, 156.7 for Ken Cook for Random Value Vandals, also in fuel-saving mode. Now this dragging piece of bodywork was a real issue for the red and white number 34 GMF at Mid-Ohio. They came into the pits to do all the work and they decided not to drag it off, and they were soundly rebuked by the IMSA pit lane officials at that point. And it's hanging off the back of that car again in exactly the same spot, with Stephen McAleer now sitting in behind that car. Just coming down to 30 minutes to go here, Jeremy.
Yeah, fascinating race, and it's certainly a long way from being over here. And who can save the fuel? There's several cars there that are going to have to be saving a little bit, but Daniel Morad, that gap between him and Kenton Cook is staying around about the same, 2.3, 2.4 seconds. But Matt Plum, who is in better shape, 3 laps better off on fuel, he is exactly where he needs to be to take advantage of any late slips by those other two.
Official retirement, not a surprise here, but Jacob Pettersson's Kelly Moss with Riley Porsche, the Mobil 1 car, anniversary car, that has been retired. We've also lost Victor Gonzalez Racing Hyundai number 80, the Brandon Kidd automatic racing Aston. In fact, both of the automatic Astons were out early on in the piece. Spencer Pumpelly is back in the pit lane for BGB, and I think that might have gone behind the wall actually. And also Racers Edge Motorsports Honda is in the pit lane. That's the 73 car at the end of the pit lane. Should be able to try and see what they're doing. It looks like they're working on drive shaft, something around the front end. Left front wheel going back on. They've got the bonnet, the hood up as well. So they're trying to get that car back into the race. Still to come this afternoon, WeatherTech qualifying live and free across the world on the global TV feed. No blocks, no breaks, no ads, no interruptions, just the action for you. In TCR, Robert Wiggins leads in the 33 Hyundai from John Morley for Road Shagger Racing. It's been a good comeback from Road Shagger. A couple of penalties earlier on when Gavin was at the wheel. They got a bit excitable on the starts and the restarts. John Morley's a wily old character, and that team has won before in this category, Jeremy, so they know they can.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, he got past the number 77. Where's number 77 go? Is he right? Where is he? He's fallen back a couple of places now. Yeah, I think.
Stephen McAleer is going to get a drive-through. Stephen McAleer, multiple track limits violations in the 28 car, and the RS1 number 28 will drop down out of 7th position. They were on fuel save, hoping for something to happen at the end of the race. What they didn't want to have to do was come down pit lane again, and that is what they're going to have to do. Sheikh Adam has been looking people in the eye and asking about fuel saving. What's the latest, Sheikh? Give us a summing up of who thinks they can do the 28 minutes and 22 seconds to go.
Everyone thinks they can do it. It's just a matter of how much fuel they're going to have to save. I know that a couple of people at the front of the field, namely Kenton Cook, Daniel Morad, in a bit of a fuel save mode or a management mode even. But if we look back to the 46 Team TGM, Matt Plum, our championship leader, they are good to go. It was a very wise call based on the brains on the box. And what is it that we used to say all the time with Owen Trinkler? What was it that the shirt said?
In Joe Vardy we trust.
Exactly.
Jeremy Shaw pointed that one out very early on, said they were in a good position, and they are in an excellent position Will Lambros, by the way, still leading, as his pace has picked up just a little bit recently, down into the high 57s from the low 58s. But that lead that was over 20 seconds is now just a tad under 14, with Kenton Cook also soft pedaling. Here comes Stephen McAleer across the stripe in the pit lane opposite me. That's the drive-through penalty for the Rennsport 1, the RS1 Porsche. 27 minutes to go now.
Yeah, it's annoying for that team because they'd put themselves into contention. Took a bit of a gamble by coming in on that restart lap with quite a long way to go, but having seen all that yellow in the early part of the race, one can understand why they did that. So he was definitely having to save some fuel, but yeah, they can probably just about stretch it from there. But certainly number 46 car is much better off on fuel than they are. But the number 39 is of the other contenders, and the two Turner Motorsport BMWs, they have no fuel concerns whatsoever. Also, Jeff Westphal just got past Valentin Hasklow on the last lap as well, so number 39 car up into 8th position.
Yeah, that's the car bomb BMW that started at the back. It did lead the race just around about half distance in TCR. Robert Wiggins by just 0.3 of a second from his teammate. Excuse me, not from his teammate, from John Morley and Mikey Taylor's another second further back. More carbon on the circuit. That again looks like more AMG diffuser, as we're waiting for JMF to come in the pit lane presumably for some remedial work. John Morley looks really comfortable sitting in second place in that dark grey Audi. Coming out of the boot now through turn 9 towards the left-hander at turn 10. Top 3 in TCR, separated by not much really. Also got the number 17 Unitronics car with the two leaders, but they are laps down, of course. No, he's not. I'm talking absolute nonsense. He is the third place car. Second guessing myself now.
That's unfortunate for JMF. Presumably that's to repair that diffuser, John, because they certainly didn't need any fuel.
Well, Shea was there. Shea, what exactly happened with that JMF number 34 for Jesse Webb in that Mercedes AMG?
A lot of anger right now with this team because the car was called into the pit lane because of those carbon bits that were coming off the diffuser. And this stems back to the Mid-Ohio thing. Jeremy's right on that, because they sent the car before the IMSA tech officials at Mid-Ohio had said it was safe to go back out on the racetrack. Well, this time they called the car in. They plugged in the fuel hoses because there's a vent on one side and then the actual fuel hose on the other. And when the mechanic ran over to address the carbon bit, it had fallen off on the track. They were mad because they, in fact, were told to bring their car in to repair the damage.
Whoops.
The damage repaired itself out on the track.
Incident at the inner loop a few moments ago, and John Morley going for the lead in TCR. Little bit of a low percentage move there as he was going into the first part of the inner loop, side-by-side contact with Rob Wiggins. Both cars sideways. Wiggins continues, but a lot of time lost by the number 61 Audi, and that has really brought the number 17 Mikey Taylor car back in or into contention for the battle for the lead. I think John did recover, but he's dropped some time to wait for them to come across the line. Yeah, John Morley now scored in third position and has dropped some 5 seconds back. Oh, in fact, he's dropped more than that. Now dropped about 5 or 6 seconds back. I was right. Will Lambros in and out in the number 16 car. Had its moment of glory at the front of the field for Skip Barber Racing. Now fueled for the last 20 minutes or thereabouts, 22 minutes. But the battle for the TCR lead continues A great run out of the Esses by the Audi. Couple of dabs on the brake to make sure that the pads were there. Was there a little sideways moment coming up the Esses maybe for Rob Wiggins in the Brian Herter Autosport Elantra? He's having a look down the inside, but there's no room through in turn 5, into the chute, across the top of the brow, down into the tricky turn 6, downhill, into the ball, and then you pop out the other side. Those TCR cars go through there extremely well, with all of the aero on the body. And a new leader in TCR, Mikey Taylor for Unitronic. That was a quality manoeuvre as well, coming up out of the S's. He got a fabulous run, made it look very easy. Wiggins now in second. John Morley, who'd been challenging for the lead a lap or two ago, down in third position. And in fact, he's under pressure now from Bryson Morris in the 77 Brian Herter Hyundai.
Yeah, so it's BMW that leads then with the Kenton Cook. The gap extended itself a little bit on that last lap, 2.4 seconds I think it was as they crossed the line. Matt Plum about a second or so behind in third position, and a bit of a gap back to Robert McGuinness in fourth, who's now coming under pressure from Jeff Westphal in that carbon green BMW. That, well, the leading BMW is green as well, but Westphal is absolutely flying. He's pulled away a little bit now from Robbie Foley and Valentin Hasseklo, and closing on Hasseklo is Aaron Tielitz in that Archangel Motorsports car number 88.
There are only 15 seconds between first and eighth in the top category at the moment, and track limits, multiple offences for the number 96 Turner BMW. Robbie Foley at the wheel at the moment, so he's going to drop out of contention. Also, the incident responsibility between the battling TCR cars was given to John Morley, but it's a warning only when he dropped down to third position. Okay. But he's got his hands full now.
There.
He did, and he's got his hands full, Jeremy, with Bryson Morris and Denny Dupont, who were right with him in the 77 and 76 BHA Hyundai Elantras.
That's right, Denny Dupont once again moving himself into contention. He's closed up on that on Bryson Morris, who had slipped back a bit. John Morley, of course, lost some time with that off at the bus stop when he was trying to get past Robbie Wiggins. Oh, how frustrating is it for Robbie Wiggins? There's always something that gets in the way of a victory. But yeah, they won the championship last season, of course, he and Harry Gottsacker, without winning a race. And once again, today they've led a goodly portion of it, but now bundled down to second position. Really annoying.
It's Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindorf, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Under 20 minutes to go. Michelin moment of the race for GS and TCR still to come. Media pit lane reporter Shea Adam will have a say on that along with Jeremy. Now Hugh Plum and Matt Plum are both on the track at the same time. Shea Adam, I see TGM on the wall. Which of the battling brothers is coming in next?
Hugh Plum is coming down the pit lane now as the pit board swings for the number 64. This is a car that's interested in the Bronze Championship, and they actually had competition this weekend, but it looks like the other cars not still running. I don't think any of the other ones are left, John, but this will be a splash of fuel only for Hugh.
Shea Adam, that BDO pit lane report. I have got so many numbers written on my legal pad here from the penalties, but I've actually had to move on to, I've had to flip it over and start writing on the back of the pages. You run out of leaves on my notepad here. Random Vandals Racing then. Kenton Cook, 18 minutes away. Now, just hearing
lapping
from
super consistently.
Yeah, they're about 3 laps short, is what I'm hearing from the pit lane. They need 3 laps of caution, in fact, is what I'm hearing from Random Vandals. Just been talking to our colleagues on NBC.
That certainly would tally with my thinking. It was a gamble coming in as early as they did. For number 46 car, also a bit of a gamble. And the cars that came in on lap 27, when there were 53 minutes to go, that was the right time to come onto pit lane without needing some sort of a caution or massive fuel save. And of those cars, the number 39 and the number 95, they're battling away right now for what is 4th position at the moment.
So Kenton, the first 2 cars came in on the same lap. So Kenton and Daniel came in on the same lap. They've been out 23 laps at the moment. Matt Plum was 3 laps after that. Robert McGuinness was 9 laps after that. Jeff Westfall was 5 laps after that. Robbie Foley, 10 laps after that. Valentin Asclaux, 9 laps after the 2 leaders. So very interesting as to where this will happen and how this will play out. It may yet be a fuel race. Not sure who I'd pick between Kenton and Daniel for super fuel saving. They're both pretty good at it, to be honest.
They are, aren't they? I tell you what, all of Kenton Cook's laps, they're within 0.2 of a second, so 56.9 to 57.3 or so. Really good consistency there. The gap between first and second, 2.3 seconds, that's remaining pretty constant. And only about a second or so behind him in 3rd position is that number 46 car of Hugh Plum.
Robbie Foley still hasn't answered his drive-through penalty for multiple track limit violations. He'll be running out of laps for that. Normally you have to come in 3 times past the start-finish line. I've just seen RS1 in the pit lane. Shay Adam, you have a Porsche coming towards you. Stephen McAleer.
I'm really surprised to see this car. They're doing a splash of fuel for Stephen to tell him to turn it up to full rich and see what the car is capable of. So let's see how long the fueler stays on the nose of the car. And it's a longer splash than I thought it would be. There we go, now the fuel nozzle's out, and Stephen is sent back to try and regain any position they can. Still looking for this championship this year, are Trent Hittman and Stephen McAleer.
Yeah, and that was the first car to come onto the pit lane, Shay, right at that restart. The only stop since then was the drive-through for number 28. So, I would expect the number 92 to have a similar problem. 92.57, I'm pretty sure can't make it to the end from here unless something really bizarre happens, but I've said that a whole bunch of times this year in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and bizarre things have happened, and there's been massive fuel save. It's not quite so easy to save fuel here as it was at Mid-Ohio last time out. There is some downhill here, but there's also quite a bit of more sort of critical uphills in terms of using fuel than there were at Mid-Ohio. That long back stretch at Mid-Ohio, the downhill long straightaway, does allow you to save a lot of fuel.
Not that many heavy braking areas either, Jeremy, where you can coast into them. Turn 8 maybe, but other than that, a lot of these corners for the Pilot Challenge cars, both the TCRs and the GSs, are just, even in normal racing, flat out racing, a lift and maybe a slight dab of the brakes. It's not a huge braking moment. There's the drive-through for the number 96 and Robbie Foley. He came in at the last possible moment and rejoins. Ken Cook by 2.5 from Daniel Morad, who's got 1.25 seconds on Matt Plum for Team TGM. Jeremy, you spotted that a long way out. Are TGM in the box seat here?
Well, I mean, they've got 3 laps more fuel than the other 2 cars ahead of them, but they've got 2 laps less fuel than most of the cars behind them. if you see what I mean. They came in 2 laps
Yeah.
earlier than the cars that are the other major contenders for the win. Tell you who's moving up nicely, that's Luca Mars in car number 59. He not so long ago he was down in 17th position. He's a bunch of the cars he's passed have been TCRs, but that core motorsports Mustang now up inside the top 10, dragging Michael Cooper with him as well.
Same time in TCR, Mikey Taylor has pulled out 2.3 seconds on Robert Wiggins since that pass for the lead. John Morley continues to battle Bryson Morris and Denny DeProm, although Will Lambros is coming back through that battle at the moment. That's the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th in TCR, so the last step on the podium still very much being disputed by Roadshagger Racing, Brian Herter Autosports ×2. Robert Wiggins just hanging on at about 2 seconds away from Mikey Taylor.
That was a problem for the Ford, wasn't it? For the core Ford. I just mentioned that car. Slowed down there at turn 8.
Left front tyre is what we're hearing, and that is continuing as well. And also hearing that the Gregory Learfoe Stephen Cameron Racing Ford Mustang is going slowly as well. There's a warning for that contact between John Morley and Rob Wiggins. John just holding on to 3rd position at the moment. Going through turn 1, he's in behind the Porsche number 67 of Sebastian Carrazzo. And he's still staying ahead of those 2 BHA Hyundais. Audi, Hyundai and Audi in the top 3, with then 2 Hyundais hunting down the dark grey number 61 into the inner loop, the bus stop chicane. And can he get down the inside and past the Porsche? Answer is, oh, probably actually. Wow, that's really interesting how much more grip John seemed to have coming out. And he's going to try the outside pass round turn 6, and if he gets that done, he's a braver man than I, Gunga Din. But I think it looked odds on that he would get it. Shea Adam has been watching the core number 55, the multi-stripes on the side of that Ford Mustang GT4.
The rubber had actually rolled up toward the inside shoulder of the left front tire, but the good news is no damage to the suspension. So they just plunked a new tire on for Luca Mars, gave him a little splash more of fuel, and sent him out on his way. That's the sound of the other Ford Mustang that was going slowly out on the circuit, the number 43 from Stephen Cameron Racing. That car is now sent back out and also into the pits. It was just a splash of fuel, but now they're doing 4 tires for the 99 of Tyler Gonzalez. I've seen this car in here way too many times this race, though, guys. This is heartbreaking.
Confirmation that Mikey Taylor did pass the Porsche, and that's allowed him to stretch his lead just a little bit. It was out to 3 seconds a moment or 2 ago. Meantime, really important moment of the race here. Team tactics being played out with TGM. The number 46, Matt Plum, who is a couple of 3 laps better off on fuel than Daniel Morad, is closing him down. The pass was made by the 61 on the Porsche, as I mentioned. That was the number 67 car that it went by for Sebastian Carrazzo, but there was a bit of hip and shoulder as it did it. Meantime, back in the team tactics chapter of this race, the battle for 2nd and 3rd at the front of the field in GS is between Daniel Morad and Team TGM's Matt Plum. Matt, a handful of laps better off on fuel than the AMG number 57. Now, right in front of that 57 at the moment is Hugh Plum, Matt's brother, down in 21st. And that's a quick car. He may actually be inadvertently helping Morad because he's giving him a tour down the straight, but he's trying to back him up into his brother. Now at the Esses, he lets him go. So I think that was probably within the bounds of being all right, Jeremy.
Yeah, just about. I'm not sure why he's all of a sudden dropped way off the pace in that second of the Team TGM cars. That was kind of bizarre, wasn't it? Really rather odd. Anyhow, it's not a factor in the race, that car. It's a lap down, and it's not going to be a factor anymore, so we don't really need to talk about that anymore. He didn't seem to cost the number 57 car too much. I mean, look, the 46 car compared to the 57 has 2 laps more fuel, so he should be able to go harder than Daniel Morad. But then again, we've seen how good Daniel Morad is in the past in saving fuel, as is Kenton Cook, who's still going. We've got inside 7 minutes to go now for the race leader, Kenton Cook, who's again just turning brilliantly consistent laps, all just around about 57.0. There was one lap a couple of laps ago, 56.6. But other than that, 57.0 pretty much the whole way, and he'll be doing whatever he can to bring that car home without having to need a splash of fuel.
Yeah, he can go faster or he can go longer, of course. Into the pit lane for Kenton Cook from Random Vandals. Daniel Morad in as well, so they can't make it with 6 minutes to go. What's that? Something like 3, maybe 4 racing laps. And Matt Plum for Team TGM goes through into the lead. So, can he stretch it for 6 minutes? Shea Adam.
I'm going to start counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 seconds of fuel for Morad. Kenton Cook is still stationary in his box. Fuel nozzle is still attached for Kenton. Kenton's getting more fuel than Morad, so I wonder who got their calculations right on that one.
You don't want to get it wrong at this stage. Green light at the end of pit lane. Kenton back out. Matt Plum now leads from Jeff Westphal from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
Who is 9 seconds further back, and he has, I believe he has no fuel worries, Jeremy, is that right?
Yes, it is. And he, on that last lap, he got past, finally, Robert McGuinness. Had been trying for a long, long time. He'd been within a couple of tenths of a second. Finally, he's made that move up into second place. Now, the question is, does Matt Plum have enough to get to the end of this race? 5 minutes remaining. As I said before, he came in 2 laps after the 2 cars that pitted last time around. And there's going to be at least 2 more laps to go from here. And he'll have already done 1 more lap than those other guys. So it's going to be a stretch for this number 46 car, and this is a championship leader, of course, so it's critical that he doesn't have to come in to make a splash at this stage.
Michelin moment of the race time, Shea Adam for GS. What has caught your imagination? Was it any one of those big outside passes? Was it the dive down the inside to turn 1 to take the lead? What have you seen in GS that's worthy of the Michelin moment of the race?
The opening stint from Sean McAllister in the Carbon with Peregrine Racing BMW, where he took the car from dead last to the lead before handing it over to Jeff Westphal. This car, which was stationary yesterday for FP2 and for qualifying because it needed a new brain, it got its new brain, and now its new brain is looking at a podium finish.
Yeah, there was some great passes in that as well. Jeremy Shaw, GS Michelin moment of the race. Do you have something else to throw in other than Jeff's first stint? Excuse me, the Carbon's first stint.
Well, look, it didn't happen during the race, but I mean the call to to park the car yesterday, flight. Number 39
Car
team.
being soft. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Remember a couple of weeks ago, the car was in the wall and destroyed. This is not the same car, but it is the same brain. Okay, I am not going to argue with that one. So our Michelin moment of the race for GS will be the call to get the ECU out of the old car and get that car moving, whatever happens.
It's there's The other guy I'm watching right now is Aaron Tielitz, who talked about it a little while ago in that Archangel Motorsports car number 88. He got past Valentin Hasklow a little while ago. He's only 3 seconds behind this battle between the other two BMWs of Jeff Westphal and Robert McGuinness. But then again, if Matt Plum can stretch this to the end, that would be pretty darn impressive.
Michelin moment of the race, 2 minutes. CR, and wait a minute, another flat tyre. I'm hearing, and it's Kenton Cook. Kenton Cook with a flat tyre on the Random Vandals number 92, I believe. I heard. Shea Adam, Michelin moment of the race in TCR. What have you got for us?
Couple of drive-throughs for the Road Shagger Racing Audi, and they're still looking at a podium finish. So their never say quit attitude, and the fact that they haven't been with us for a couple races, and it doesn't look like that, does it?
Been a couple of very good passes by John Morley as well. Jeremy, as Kenton Cook's brave run comes to an end with that problem with the left front tyre, he will tour back in just as the leader, I believe, comes around to take the white flag next time. TCR Michelin moment of the race, Jeremy?
Good question. Moment of the race. Robbie Wickens hanging on to Robbie Wickens hanging on to that to his car when he was with the contact with the number 61 car of John Morley. That was a big moment that Robbie Wickens had. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. There'll be a casting vote on that. Waiting for Matt Plum to come through at the end of the lap. He's eased his pace down into the 58. He's got 6 seconds on the Carbon M4. And here he comes. I'm looking down to the starter stands. The white flag is in hand. So it's 3.4 miles from now for Team TGM and Matt Plum, as the gap will come down again. Jeff Westphal putting in good sector times here, and he'll come across the line, waiting for that BMW to come across the line. 5.7 seconds, surely he can't make that up unless there's a cough and a splutter. Robert McGuinness is right with Jeff Westphal as well. There's only a second between those two BMWs for second and third, and then 2.5 seconds to Aaron Tielitz for the Archangel Motorsports 88 car. Brilliant stuff. It looks like a Sunday afternoon drive, not a Saturday afternoon race for Matt Plum. He is taking it very easily indeed. He's got traffic. He does not need anybody in front of him. He wants to take the ideal racing line. Didn't lose anything in the first split. In the second split, let's see. Oh, John Morley has run out of fuel, I think. John Morley in the 61 Road Shagger car, weaving left and right. He's either got a steering issue or he's run out of fuel, coming to what would have been his final lap. It's a fuel issue for John Morley. Oh, such hard luck for that team after they had come back from a couple of drive-throughs, and they will lose the TCR podium, and that puts Denny DuPont and the 76 team up there. Meantime, at the front of the field, Matt Plum, Team TGM, gambled on the fuel, and the gamble has come up. TGM trumps. Aston Martin win the Salem 6 hours of the Glen. They go wild on the pit wall. Jeff Westphal tried to close him in, and at the end, Aaron Tielitz goes through at the end for Archangel Motorsports in third place, ahead of the Van der Steur Racing Aston of Valentin Kloss. Carbon have dropped down to 5th position. Shea Adam with the overall winners, as Mikey Taylor is coming to the line.
Well, and Paul Holton told me a little bit earlier on, we're good. I trusted you, but there was still some nerves going on. How good does it feel to be back in victory lane after a little while?
I think it's been 5 years for me in IMSA, so this is amazing, you know. It definitely got a little tighter there for us at the end. The pace was a little faster than we thought, so we'll see if he makes it around on this in-lap, to be honest. But no, it was amazing. I can't thank Team TGM and Ted and Christina and Hugh and Matt for having me aboard. This is really phenomenal, super awesome. The team's amazing, and it's good to be back in victory lane with Matt.
This year you've got a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and a sixth. That is a heck of a run for a championship. Is that full focus for Matt?
It's full focus. You know, like I said earlier today, we're not here to hit home runs. We're here to get batters on base and execute every single weekend. And when they're there for us, we're going to take them. So yeah, this is amazing for the championship. This is a big day for points. We're here for the end of the year, though.
Congrats.
Thank you, Jay.
And confirmation of the win for Unitronics in TCR ahead of Robert Watkins in second. Danita Pond and the Brian Herder Autosport 76 car into third place with 2 TCRs running out on the last lap. Bryson Morris has run out as well, so Mark Wilkins may yet get into fourth place. He has done. Eduardo Go, he's a lap back, so they're not going to go up any further. It was a fuel race par excellence at the front of the field. Jeremy Shaw for Team TCM. And Matt Plum has brought it home, and he has soft pedalled his way. Just sat in behind the leaders, didn't try to challenge them. We said he could go faster or he could go further. He went further. Shay Adam down in the pit lane.
This is very familiar so far for 2024, trying to find the JDC Miller Motorsports guys, but Unitronic with the big anniversary this year. Chris Miller, you guys just keep delivering. You've won the 6 hours of the Glen. What's it like to be a race winner at Michelin Pilot Challenge here?
Yeah, super fun. Love this track. Every time we come back, just love it more and more. And it means a lot. We're still have a long way to go, but chasing this championship, and it's one more step. And these guys just keep doing everything perfectly. Pit stops, strategy. We've got a fast car. Mikey did a great job to bring it home. So yeah, super special. And we'll just try to keep it going.
Dream season continues. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeremy Shaw working on the points as it's a very slow in-lap for Mikey Taylor. I think there was more than the odd one or two struggling there at the end. And Matt Plum coming into pit lane as well for Team TGM. Jeremy has been doing the arithmetic.
Yeah, of course, Matt Plum, he came in to this race with the championship lead. Brilliant fuel save there for Matt Plum, and with this victory today for Matt Plum, this is his 24th win, so that finally breaks. He is the most successful driver in the history of this championship, and now equally with Billy Johnson. So it's been a while, but he's fighting. Billy Johnson moved ahead. He got that win last year at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So now equal, now 24 wins for Billy Johnson and Matt Plum, and this moves Matt Plum ahead of Billy Johnson and podiums in career in this championship, number 52 for Matt Plum. It's been a brilliant performance by him. In the points then, 1,500 points now for Matt Plum. Into second place from third will be Bryce Ward and Daniel Morad, who finished 7th today. They'll be on 12.50, just 10 points ahead of Dylan McAvern and Robert McGinnis, who came home in second position on that last lap after the problem, whatever it was, for the car barn car that saw it fall from second to 5th on that final lap. So I don't know whether they cut their fuel a little bit too fine there at the end, pushing too hard, I don't know, but that was very costly for them. In TCR, John, it's been, as Shay said, almost a perfect season. 4 wins and a third for Chris Miller and Mikey Taylor. 1,700 points. They've got a 220-point lead over Preston Brown and Denny Dupont, who remain in second, and remaining in third, finishing second today, Harry Gottsacker and Robbie Wickens. They will close a little bit on the second place car. So top 3 position in TCR unchanged.
Amazing stuff. A lot of people with problems early on, untidy early on. We think that, Chad McCumbee, Bryson Morris, John Morley, Carl Whitmer, all stopping on that final lap. with fuel issues. John Potter, in fact, both the automatic racing cars, Astons, went out early. Chase Jones for the Hyundai Elantra of Victor Gonzalez's number 80 team had problems, as did Jake Petterson and PGB Motorsports. And confirmation that Jeff Westphal ran out of fuel on the last lap, but stroked the car. Jeff Westphal getting that car to the line. Were the recipient of our Michelin moment of the race, a car that started dead last in class after their electrical issues earlier on in the week. Finishes in 5th position. Did lead the race and did pull off a stunning overtake. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that one to have the moment of the race. What about the Unitronic? 20 years of Unitronic. Chris Miller and Mikey Taylor biding their time. Good overtake to take the lead there as well from that car over Robert Wiggins, who's second again. What has he got to do to win a race? Denny Dupont inheriting 3rd when the 61 Road Shagger car had got ran out of fuel again right at the very end, and that dropped John and Gavin down to 7th in TCR. Eduardo Go, the 6th position car. Bryson Morris the 5th, but ran out of fuel. Mark Wilton's up into 4th on that last lap with 2 cars that he got by. Well, Jeremy, you said sometimes we have untidy starts and good finish. Well over an hour of green flag racing when we came back, or just on an hour of green flag racing when we came back, and it turned into another race where we were holding our breath at the end.
Yeah, great, wasn't it? I mean, that's exactly what we like in these races. It might have been a messy start, but it was a really exciting finish, and a tremendous job by both of these winning teams. They've really earned it today. They've overcome some adversity. They've pulled the strategy just right and come away with maximum points in the championship.
Shay Adam was our BDO pit lane reporter. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. That's the Michelin Pilot Challenge done for this Super Saturday afternoon. We have more for you live in sound and vision here in the US and globally, with WeatherTech Sports Car Championship qualifying for everybody coming a little later on this afternoon. Congratulations to Team TGM and to Unitronic JDC Miller Motorsports for taking their class victories in the Esses 120 here at the Glen.